Welcome to the Uncommon Professional Podcast. I'm Ken Melanzi, and I'll be your host in navigating through some of the untold stories of our careers. This is your bite-sized career insight. Our uncommon professional is Bokang Kelepa, who is a mining professional that started a mining business. Bokang, welcome to the podcast. So one of the skills I admire about you is the ability to make anyone feel like they're your best friend. Where does that come from?
Yeah, it's a natural skill that I picked up when I was quite young. So my family is, my dad is from outside Zim, my mom is from Lesotho, but we were born and brought up in South Africa. So yeah, sometimes during difficult times, you would find that when people are going out on holidays, when the schools are closed, we would have to stay at home because of, maybe my mom couldn't afford to take us to Lesotho. But then there was a positive in that, and the positive in it is that as much as people were going out, there were also people that were also coming in, and it was quite interesting. And I think that's where even the curiosity came in. So it really taught you to be able to talk to people of different backgrounds, different areas. So that's, I think, where the whole thing came about. Curiosity more than anything else, and maybe a blessing in disguise where I couldn't visit anywhere during the holidays.
Are you able to successfully leverage the skill in business?
It does. People never feel like strangers to me. It's easy for me to have a person from a stranger to almost an instant friend, or almost like feel like a family. It really works quite well, where people will be willing to go all the way for you, to assist you. And I've just had a call with you now, and I was just telling you that I have a little bit of emergency at the mine. With my personality, I've already had people buying in. I know with them they're going to be going out of their way to make sure that this issue gets resolved, because they'll be feeling that we're doing it for umfowethu, ubokang, you know what I mean? That's how basically it goes a lot of times.
Under the age of 30, you achieved seniority levels at both operations and corporate level. The average mining professional retires not having reached either of those positions. I'm tempted to say you were well on your way to Exco. Why didn't you see that track through?
With that, you would see the results that I'll be achieving for my then employer. And I thought to myself, I can achieve these results for myself. And like when I went to the entrepreneurship, I won't lie to you, I think to a certain extent was the selfish act, where I would be feeling that I can be able to achieve these results for myself. If I can convince a huge parastatal to do things against their timelines, if they were saying their turnaround time is 3 months, and I said, but guys, you know that you can do better. And they would do that, and they would do it for me. And my then employer will be sending praises all over the place, all around. And yeah, I will get recognized, if I can call it that. I imagine that I can do it for myself. And if you continue a bit on that, it's the entrepreneurship journey became so fulfilling when you realize that the impact is actually beyond yourself. In fact, it ends up being beyond you, where sometimes you literally not get paid, and everybody else is paid but you. You know what I mean?
It's interesting that you should say that, because a general strategy for professionals who transition from 9 to 5 to doing their own thing is often to build a side hustle to the point of making a comfortable income before quitting. You did the opposite. What informed your decision to be full-time in your business from the get-go?
So there was a spiritual element to it. I call it conversations with God, and where he would be saying, Bokang, it's time for you to leave, and this is early in my career. So there were also those inferiorities where I was there to God care, but I'm still very junior at my job. So who will listen to me to start with? God so opened the doors for me. It's like, okay, I hear you. I'll make you senior. And then I'll also equally, open the doors for you for your education, so that you up your education. And when I'm, the next steps is God comes back again. I said, okay, now you got your postgrad. Are you ready to go? I said, no, but I'm not yet enough senior. and also I don't have a master's, and then that's where I follow my master's. Then I go to your viz. Then I said, okay, I don't have my MBA. Then I follow up and then do my MBA. And now you are there. Now you're at the corporate level. Now you're not even no longer with the business unit. Now you are at the corporate level, corporate office in Joburg. And now God says, yeah, now it's time to leave. And you wanna move to a what do you call this thing? A moving goalpost. And yeah, eventually, anyway, at the end of the day, it came to pass that I have to leave.
In a country like ours, where 90% of small businesses die within their first year, you dared to start and make it past your first year. What was your strategy to making it past the first year?
So, when you go into business, I like this book by Ryan Holiday. Was it Cal Newport? Yeah, it's Cal Newport. It's called So Good You Cannot Be Ignored. I mean, the title itself is already captivating. And the one point he talks about, a lot of times when you refer to capital, we're just thinking about the financial capital. A lot of times, okay? Then and then you'll talk about your social capital, your adversity capital, and all that. But he refers to what he calls career capital. So he says, if you're going to be starting something, make sure that you start with something that you're familiar with. And it's very important that people know what do they have to offer. People, to a certain extent, they like misusing this slogan of saying start where you are and start with what you have, And I don't think people really get it to say, what do you have? And for me, what did I have at that moment? It's very important to ask yourself, what really do you have to offer out there? So for me, it worked quite well to start with whatever I had known. And I started by offering those services to the small employers who didn't have enough overheads or even enough knowledge. And that's where we started, started with consulting. And it opened up then mining suppliers, contract mining, mining construction, and also the technology part.
That is commendable. I'm curious though, at what point did you begin to really question your decision of going into business and perhaps thought of throwing in the towel?
So a year in, I get approached by another big company, also in mining, and now this time around it's a different commodity. And they say, now we want to give you a head of technology, which is now we're talking executive now. We want to give you a head of technology. This is 2019. I resigned in 2018, so 2019 late. We want to give you a head of technology, and you're going to be responsible for all our Africa operations, and also you'll have to liaise with other head of technologies in the other countries, because that company is big. I mean, they do amazing things when it comes to the technological stuff. And business can be tiring, you know what I mean? Especially when you're dealing with the small clients initially, and while you're still trying to get your company recognized by other blue chip companies and the onboarding and everything. I must say I was tempted to take it, and what came out of that was that, okay guys, for me to be able to resign and be able to survive for over a year after I had left my previous employer, it was difficult, and I still ideally want to be an entrepreneur, and I'm still going to continue being an entrepreneur. So for me to be able to offer my services, you'll have to take my company, put it on your vendor. I'll still do exactly what I would be doing as a head of technology, but then now I'm going to be invoicing. I'll be coming to you guys as a consultant. And yeah, they bought into that, and that's how Biletema got onboarded into their books.
I recall actually you sharing with me 2 executive offers at the time, and in as much as you resisted the temptation of going back, what made you resist this temptation?
The very same question that my spouse asked, you must remember, why did you start at the first place? And I think that really needs to be put out there when you're going to be resigning and leaving your job. Really ask yourself, you need to be going somewhere and not rather leaving. Because if you're going to be saying you're leaving something, then it's a problem. Have somewhere where you're going and have that compelling vision that all the times then it's going to be able to take over, and everything that you're going to be doing, then you'll ensure that you do it in the interest of that vision. Like I'm saying, when this guys say, come and be our head of technology, I still make sure that even though I'm saying yes, but it's also still in line to my vision to say I'll be growing the company brand, and hence the company now, it's part of their vendor database and actually doing the job for their company for them at this moment.
Are you able to recall or refer to a point when things really started looking up for your business?
2020, the company hit its first million rand. Early 2020. You understand when you're thinking a million rand, and actually at that time I still thought it was about me. So for me it was like it's my million rand, you know. But then when I took a step back, then I realized that so I could make a million. What more can I make? And then I started even being more driven.
And looking back at your journey thus far, what would you say has been a pain point in the process?
When you get into business, you just want to instantly figure it out. I don't know why. You know, I felt like, and this is my own personal experience, where you don't even want to be a learner. You just want to be a professional right away, and which is dangerous, and which is something that I'll be speaking against for all of us to say, appreciate small beginnings. So we've got a tendency of just wanting to see ourselves just on the summit without even the process. So yeah, I think that whole point that, you just want to just get it right from the word go, all the way, like just get it right. But you have to learn along the way to say, this is a better way of doing things. If you could have done this, it could have been better. So those are some of the lessons that I learned along the way to say I need to appreciate the process.
From observation, your approach to business is not one of competition. You hang out with a lot of people in your space, socially and professionally. Is this intentional, and why do you do it?
One of the things that I've also mentioned too is that I'm very intentional about friending up, because the moment you friend either on your level or you friend below you, it's a problem that you may start resting on your laurels, to think that you're okay. It may start allowing for mediocrity. You really want people who are going to keep you driven and who are going to keep on challenging you to be better than you currently are. The downfall of it is only one though, is that you may not see value out of yourself, and that value, it's not even about you. I'm talking about the value now that you can basically plant or entrench to your juniors or even the old Bokang, to say what is it that the younger Bokang would have wanted to hear for him to grow to the Bokang that you are today. Because the problem is, because you're always surrounded by these people, you always feel like there isn't much that you can say that they do not know. But there's a lot that you can say that somebody that does not know. For you, that maybe it may look as small as possible. You may think it's very small, but to somebody else it matters a lot.
And you are in the process of recruiting more people. I think you said you've got now a staff of just under 200, and you're looking to expand 120 to 150. If you were to consider young people in this time of being faced with the plight of youth unemployment, what key attributes would you require in a young person?
Grade is very important. So the model that I always use, it's a 4-table model, and it basically talks about two things. It's willing and able, and unwilling and unable, and you know how to play around with those. And the other one is, so it's willing and able, and then willing and unable, and then there's unwilling and able, and there's unable and also unwilling. So you really, I mean, for me, the most important thing when you start, you really want a willing person, because the ability, we can work on it. Obviously, it's going to be depending on where you are in terms of your seniority. If I'm going to be taking you at a higher level, definitely you'll be willing and able. I'm not going to take you if you're not willing. Definitely I'm not. You know what I mean?
If we're being honest, starting a business can't be easy, which is why not everybody does it. And something that can't be taken for granted is the burden on mental and physical health. What has been your mental health journey in business?
If you are highly driven, the mental health will always come through, especially when you're going for those dreams that you want. With me, I was diagnosed with anxiety, and anxiety basically looks on your future, being scared of what's going to be coming ahead. And yeah, literally, I used to challenge myself quite a lot, beyond measure, if I can call it that. And yeah, I would really push my body to levels that I shouldn't, on less sleep, a lot of caffeine, and yeah, trying to do a lot with the little time that we have, you know what I mean, and also while you're working on the months. So my mental health that I saw, it was the anxiety that came to play, and that I had to treat it.
No, thank you for sharing that. And long after you're gone, other than being an uncommon professional, what would you like to be remembered for?
I need to have made a difference in a lot of people's lives. I need to have that kid who's saying my life was hopeless until I met this guy and I changed the perspective of my life. I really want to touch as many people as possible. Beyond just me creating employment for them, but also giving them that voice of hope.
Bokang Kelepa, thank you for sharing your untold story. That brings us to the end of our podcast, and I'll leave you with this. The one that invests in themselves deserves to be invested in. Invest in you and have a great day.